The aqueduct stood alone, a stoic sentinel against the passage of time. Its once proud stones were now worn and weathered. Nature had begun to reclaim what man had built. Vines, like emerald serpents, snaked their way across the arches. They tightened their grip with each passing season. The mortar, once pristine, crumbled. It whispered secrets to the wind. The air hung heavy. A strange mixture of damp earth and decay lingered. It was the breath of the forgotten. Liam and Elara were city dwellers through and through. Their lives were a blur of noise and light. When they inherited Liam's grandfather's cottage, they saw it as an escape. The cottage nestled in the shadow of the old aqueduct, a stark contrast to their usual concrete jungle. Liam was excited, eager to reconnect with his childhood memories. Elara was more apprehensive. The silence of the countryside felt heavy. It pressed upon her like a shroud.
"It's peaceful,"
Elara said, her voice a hesitant whisper.
Wait till you see the view from the top.
Liam smiled, his eyes bright with nostalgia. They spent the next few days unpacking and exploring. The cottage, though dusty, held a rustic charm. It was filled with the ghost of Liam's grandfather, a man Elara had never met. They hiked along the old aqueduct. Its massive structure stretched across the valley like a stone river. The silence was almost absolute, broken only by the chirping of crickets and the distant call of a lonely bird. It was in this silence that Elara began to notice it, a faint humming sound, barely audible. It seemed to emanate from the aqueduct itself.
"Do you hear that?"
she asked Liam, her voice barely a murmur.
Hear what?
Liam paused, listening intently. The humming persisted. It grew stronger as the days passed. Sometimes, late at night, Elara could have sworn she heard whispers. They were carried on the wind, too faint to decipher. Liam dismissed it as her imagination, the stress of moving, the unfamiliar surroundings. But Elara wasn't so sure. There was something off about the aqueduct, an unnatural stillness that seemed to hum with unseen energy, a presence unseen but felt. It watched them, she was certain of it.
It's probably just the wind whistling through the arches,
Liam said, trying to sound reassuring.
"But there's no wind,"
she whispered, more to herself than to Liam.
There was no wind.
One evening, as they were having dinner, the phone rang. It was an old rotary phone, a relic from Liam's grandfather. The ringing sound seemed to pierce the silence of the cottage, sharp and intrusive.
Hello?
Liam answered. He listened for a moment, his face paling.
That was the hospital, my grandfather. He's awake.
"What? How is that possible?"
Elara gasped. Liam's grandfather had been in a coma for years, ever since a fall from the aqueduct.
"What did they say?"
He just kept repeating one word, a name, Elara.
Liam decided to visit his grandfather at the hospital. It had been a while since he last saw him, and he felt a pang of guilt for not visiting sooner. It was several hours away, and Elara stayed behind. She had her own reasons for not going, reasons she kept to herself. The cottage felt emptier than usual. The silence was deafening, pressing in on her from all sides. She wandered from room to room, restless and ill at ease. Every creak of the floorboards seemed to echo her unease.
"I can't just sit here. I need to do something, anything to shake off this feeling."
As dusk began to settle, she decided to take a walk. The aqueduct seemed to beckon her, its silhouette a dark smudge against the dying light. It was a place she had always found intriguing, yet slightly unsettling. She found herself drawn to it, as if by an invisible thread. Each step felt both hesitant and inevitable. As she walked, she stumbled upon something half hidden in the undergrowth, a small, tarnished silver locket. It looked old, like it had been there for years. It was cold to the touch, sending a shiver up her spine.
"What is this doing here? Who could have left it?"
Curiosity overcoming her unease, she picked it up. She felt a strange connection to the locket, as if it held secrets waiting to be uncovered. The locket was old, engraved with an intricate design, a relic from a time long past. Its surface was worn, yet the craftsmanship was unmistakable, a testament to the hands that had created it. It sprang open with a click, revealing 2 faded photographs, each telling a story of its own. The images, though aged, held a certain clarity that drew Elara in. One was a young woman with laughing eyes and a mischievous smile, her joy almost palpable through the years. She seemed to be caught in a moment of pure happiness. She was the spitting image of Elara, a mirror from the past, making Elara feel an uncanny connection. The other photo was of a man, his face etched with sorrow, standing on the aqueduct. His posture was one of defeat, as if the weight of the world rested on his shoulders. His eyes, filled with a deep sadness, seemed to stare directly at Elara, piercing through the veil of time. It was a look that spoke of loss and longing. A wave of dizziness washed over her, making her grip the locket tighter. The room seemed to spin, and she felt a connection to the past that was almost overwhelming.
This can't be real. How could these images be so familiar yet so distant?
She recognized the sadness in the man's eyes, a sorrow that mirrored her own feelings of loss and confusion. She had seen it reflected in Liam's own eyes when he talked about his grandfather's accident, a tragedy that had left a permanent mark on his family. Suddenly, the humming from the aqueduct intensified, vibrating through her very being, as if the past was reaching out to her, demanding to be acknowledged and understood.
She looked up, her heart pounding. The air around the aqueduct shimmered, like a heat haze but different. It felt as though time itself was bending around the structure. Images flashed before her eyes. A young couple, their laughter echoing through the arches. The same couple, their faces now etched with worry. A terrible argument, words spoken in anger. Then the man falling, his scream swallowed by the silence.
Elara stumbled back, dropping the locket. It clattered on the stone path, the sound unnaturally loud in the stillness. She understood now. The aqueduct held onto its memories, its sorrow, and it was using her, drawing her in. The humming reached a crescendo. The air crackled with energy. Elara felt a pull, a force drawing her towards the edge of the aqueduct. She knew what awaited her there, the past replaying itself. But this time, she would be a part of it. She could feel it, the sorrow, the regret, the desperate yearning for a different ending. The aqueduct craved it, and it wanted Elara to be its vessel.
Just then, she heard Liam's voice calling her name. It was distant, faint, but it cut through the fog of the past.
She had a choice: to succumb to the pull of the aqueduct, to become a prisoner of its memories. Elara closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face. Each tear carried the weight of her sorrow, a sorrow that seemed endless. She thought of Liam, his love a beacon in the darkness. His smile, his touch, everything about him was a reminder of the light she desperately needed. With a surge of will, she tore herself away from the edge. The abyss had called to her, but she found the strength to resist its pull. The humming faltered, the air returning to normal. The oppressive atmosphere that had surrounded her began to lift, though the chill lingered. The locket lay on the ground, its silver surface now dull and lifeless. It was a relic of a past she wished she could forget, yet it held memories she couldn't let go. The aqueduct stood silent, its secrets once again hidden. The shadows seemed to whisper, but their voices were now muted.
Elara stumbled back to the cottage, the weight of what she had seen heavy on her heart. Each step was a struggle, her mind replaying the haunting images.
Liam was home, his face etched with worry. He had sensed something was wrong, and his heart ached to see her in such pain. He rushed to her, his arms closing around her in a protective embrace. His warmth was a shield against the cold that had seeped into her bones.
She clung to him, finding solace in his warmth. His presence was a reminder that she was not alone, that she had someone to lean on. But even as she did, she couldn't shake the feeling of cold eyes watching her. The sensation was unnerving, a reminder that the darkness was never far away. The aqueduct had let her go. For now, its presence was a constant, a lingering chill that promised it would return.
The next morning they packed their belongings. Liam understood. He had seen the fear in Elara's eyes, felt the chill that clung to her. As they drove away, Elara cast one last glance at the aqueduct. It stood against the horizon, a monument to time and sorrow. And in the silence, she could have sworn she heard it again. A faint whisper carried on the wind. Her name. A question echoing in the stillness. Was it her imagination? Or was the aqueduct still hungry for its lost love, waiting for her to return? The answer, lost to the wind, remained a chilling whisper in the depths of her mind.